The Korean War. The conflict so forgotten, historians literally call it the Forgotten War. Which is wild because this thing had everything. Communist invasions, nuclear threats, China entering the chat uninvited, and America going, wait, we can just not win a war? After World War II, Korea got the pizza slice treatment. The Soviets took the top half. America took the bottom half. And everyone promised, don't worry, this is temporary. Spoiler, it was not temporary. Fast forward to 1950, and North Korea's like,
hey, South Korea, we're one country again.
Cool. How?
Tanks.
And just like that, the first major hot conflict of the Cold War kicked off, with America, China, and the UN all jumping in like it was a geopolitical battle royale. 3 years, millions dead, and the border ended up in the exact same place it started. If that's not the most bureaucratic outcome ever, I don't know what is. This is the Korean War, as told by soda cans who actually read the history books.
We know there's way more to the Korean War. Yes, Korea was already beefing internally. Yes, there were uprisings like Jeju, purges in the north, political crackdowns in the south, and enough pre-1950 drama to qualify as its own civil war before the Cold War even ordered popcorn. If you're using this video instead of reading the history books, side effects may include rectal bleeding, stinky farts that may leave trace residue, regional hair loss in places you didn't know had regions, and breath that smells and tastes like a tinge of poo. If you experience an urge to correct us in the comments, please do so. We might even reply, possibly politely, possibly not. Now, back to the video.
Alright, so Korea had been occupied by Japan since 1910, and Japan was not a chill landlord. When World War II ended in 1945, Japan surrendered, and Korea was like,
Finally. Freedom.
LOL. No.
see? The Allies needed to figure out who would accept Japan's surrender in Korea. So they drew a line at the 38th parallel.
Oh, so that's what Billy Joel meant.
Actually, yes, and now you know we get our history from Billy Joel, but I digress. The Soviets would handle the North. America would handle the South. It was supposed to be temporary, just until Korea could form its own government. Except, that never happened. The Soviets installed Kim Il-sung in the North, represented here by a bottle of Taedonggang beer, North Korea's actual state-run beer, because of course they have one. Kim was a communist hardliner who spent years fighting the Japanese and had zero chill. In the South, America backed Syngman Rhee, a Coca-Cola bottle, because we always pick Coke. Rhee was anti-communist, authoritarian, and about as popular as a flat soda. Both sides claimed to be the real Korea. Both wanted reunification. But their visions were, let's say, incompatible. And so Korea stayed split. North glaring at South, South glaring at North. Cold War tension cranked to 11. June 25th, 1950. North Korea launched a massive surprise invasion across the 38th parallel. And they were ready. Soviet tanks, trained soldiers, a battle plan that actually worked. South Korea? Not so much. The South Korean military, represented by a half-empty Chilsung cider bottle, a Korean soda, sweet but defenseless, was underfunded, undertrained, and completely overwhelmed. Within days, North Korea had captured Seoul, the capital. South Korea was getting absolutely steamrolled.
America, help.
Say no more.
President Truman was like,
If we let Korea fall, the dominoes start dropping. We gotta stop this.
so America went to the United Nations, which was a thing that actually mattered back then, and got approval for a police action. Not a war, a police action. Because calling it a war would require Congress to approve it, and who has time for that? The UN formed a coalition. America led it. Soldiers from 16 countries joined. This was a team effort, except 90% of the troops were American. So, yeah, enter General Douglas MacArthur, represented by a vintage glass Coca-Cola bottle with 5 stars on it. Fancy, old school, thinks he's the main character. MacArthur had one job: push North Korea back across the 38th parallel. But MacArthur was like,
Why stop there? Let's reunify Korea under democracy.
Let's not start World War III, okay?
You got it, boss.
he did not get it. At first, things were bad for the UN forces. North Korea pushed them all the way down to the Pusan perimeter, a tiny defensive zone in the southeast corner of Korea. It was like getting spawn camped in a video game. But then MacArthur pulled off one of the ballsiest moves in military history. MacArthur launched an amphibious invasion at Inchon, a port city near Seoul. Everyone said it was a terrible idea. The tides were insane, the harbor was narrow, the risks were huge. MacArthur did it anyway, and it worked. UN forces cut off North Korean supply lines, recaptured Seoul, and sent the North Koreans running back across the 38th parallel. Victory, right?
Nah, let's keep going.
So MacArthur didn't stop at the 38th parallel. He pushed deep into North Korea, getting closer and closer to the Chinese border. China, represented by a Janlibao can, Chinese sports drink, energetic, and very motivated, was watching this and getting nervous.
Hey, America, you're getting real close to our border.
Don't worry about it.
No, seriously, stop.
Make me.
Okay?
October 1950. China sent 300,000 troops into North Korea, not as China, as Chinese People's Volunteer Army.
Wait, is China in this war?
Nope. Just volunteers. Totally unrelated.
There's 300,000 of them.
Very passionate volunteers.
The Chinese forces hit the UN troops like a tsunami. They attacked at night, used human wave tactics, fought in brutal winter conditions. The UN forces were pushed back hard. It turned into the longest retreat in US military history. By early 1951, the Chinese and North Koreans had recaptured Seoul again. MacArthur was like,
Okay, new plan. We nuke China.
What?
Just a little bit.
You're fired!
and just like that, MacArthur was out. Truman replaced him with General Matthew Ridgway, a no-nonsense RC Cola. Gets the job done, no drama. By mid-1951, the war had turned into a brutal stalemate right around the 38th parallel. Neither side could push the other back. It was just trench warfare again. Except this time with jets, helicopters, and way more explosives. The fighting was vicious. Hills were captured and recaptured dozens of times. Soldiers fought in freezing cold winters and sweltering summers. And for what? To end up right where they started. Meanwhile, peace talks began in July 1951. But the fighting didn't stop. For 2 more years, soldiers kept dying while diplomats argued about where to draw the border.
Okay, so the line should be here. No, it should be here.
Can you guys hurry up?
One of the biggest issues in the peace talks? Prisoners of war. Thousands of Chinese and North Korean soldiers had been captured by UN forces, and a lot of them didn't want to go back.
Yeah, we're good here. We'll stay.
No,
No,
they're coming back.
They don't want to go.
Not an option.
This turned into a 2-year argument. Seriously. Meanwhile, soldiers kept fighting and dying over the same hills for literally no reason. July 27th, 1953. After 3 years of fighting and 2 years of arguing, an armistice was signed. Not a peace treaty, an armistice, a ceasefire. The war just stopped. The border, right back at the 38th parallel. Exactly where it started. The Korean Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, was created. A 2.5-mile wide buffer zone between North and South. It's called the Demilitarized Zone, but it's one of the most militarized borders on Earth. Because of course it is. North Korea and South Korea are still technically at war. To this day, no peace treaty was ever signed. Let's tally it up. 36,000 American soldiers dead. Over 2.5 million Korean civilians dead. Hundreds of thousands of Chinese and North Korean soldiers dead. The border ended up in the same place. Korea stayed divided. North Korea became one of the most isolated, oppressive regimes on the planet. South Korea eventually became a democratic, economic powerhouse. Shout out to K-pop and Samsung. But the war left deep scars. Families were split apart. The peninsula was devastated, and America learned a very important lesson. You can't always win. This was the first time the US fought a war and didn't get a clear victory. No ticker tape parade, no decisive win, just a tie. And that reality would haunt America for decades. So that's the Korean War, a brutal, bloody conflict that somehow got overshadowed by World War II and Vietnam. But it mattered. It shaped the Cold War. It created the North Korea we deal with today. And it proved that superpowers can't just bulldoze their way to victory. 3 years, millions of lives, and the world stayed exactly the same. If there's a lesson here, it's this. Sometimes, nobody wins. If you learned something, or at least didn't fall asleep, smash that like button. Subscribe for more fizzy history, and remember, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Especially if you're Korea.